kaleidoscope of autumn colors began to decorate the season in the fall of 1995, my life underwent a change of its own when my family moved from our home in Detroit, Michigan to Lexington, Kentucky. And with that relocation, I transitioned from being one of many in a sea of African American faces at my former school to being one of a few, and in some instances, just one of one African American faces in school at my new school. Good afternoon, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcomed guests. In February of 2016, a ceremony was held in the auditorium of my school to celebrate diversity. During a powerful performance of the inspiring anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, by an African American student, a white student yelled a racial slur, audible enough for several people nearby to hear, and a vicious brawl immediately ensued. When news of this event was circulated throughout the school, it was as if an invisible partition was erected, dividing the student body strictly amongst racial identities. Now at this time, my favorite class was our video productions program. And we were selected to participate in a statewide competition to produce the best 15-minute video. My teacher selected James Chips, a white student, and yours truly to represent our class. Now, fellow Toastmasters, I wish that I could tell you that the same pernicious and divisive problems that were inflicting our school did not violate the sanctity of our classroom. But they did. White students, they sat with other white students, and our black students, well, we sat with other black students, and there was no room for middle ground. My first engagement with James Chips, it started off like a shootout in an old Western movie. James sauntered up to me, and he said, "Listen up, Randolph. I plan on winning this thing, and I don't need you holding me back. Make sure you stay out of my way." I thought, this white boy done lost his mind. Because I'm from Detroit, and I done hit somebody for saying a lot less offensive. And I turned around and I said, "Well, shut up and listen to me, and your ugly ass might learn something." And then I thought we were going to kick off our next race fight between another black and white student. But we didn't. But that partnership broke apart before it even had a chance to start. And things only got worse from there. As time moved along, the only topic that we could agree with was of the other's incompetence. We were in serious peril of missing our deadline and perhaps being kicked off the project altogether. Working on this project required many long hours. We were required to stay in the studio on numerous nights late, long after all the students had left. One night, we were hungry, and it was getting late. I recommended that we just run up to the local McDonald's, grab something to eat, and come back to work. Of course, James disagreed. He probably did it just to spite me. "Can't do it, dude. My mother is cooking my favorite meal. Why don't you just come over to our house for dinner?" "Nah, I don't want to come over to your house." "Dude, come on. My mother's cooking is way better than McDonald's." "What, you don't want to come over to my house because I'm white?" "Yes, no, I don't know." Well, after a brief introduction and going over to James's house, his mother asked me, "Johnny, do you like lasagna?" Fellow Toastmasters, I'm not gonna lie, I said, yes, it's my favorite. And she said, great. Go wash your hands. Both of you all go wash your hands and grab a plate. There's plenty to eat. As I made my way to the bathroom to wash my hands, his mother reminded me of my mother and her predilection for always making sure that all sanitary environments were in place whenever we were preparing to eat. And over dinner, I learned that James and I shared more in common than just our love for lasagna and our germophobic mothers. I was having a good time. Dare I say, maybe we were becoming friends? But over time, those hostilities did begin to soften, especially when we stopped listening to outside influences and learned to respect each other. Now, there were still many differences between us. He was a little bit of rock and roll, and I was a whole lot of hip hop. But we learned that those differences were not insurmountable, especially when we learned to respect and trust each other. But James and I managed to get this project done by the last date of the deadline. And to our surprise, we were one of the 5 finalists. Now, this announcement was going to be made at this lavish banquet hall. There we were, at the banquet, looking spiffy in our rented tuxedos, as we awaited the names of the winners. Finally, after hours, the head of the program approached the lectern. The WKYT third place prize for outstanding video goes to, they didn't call our school. The WKYT video for second place in outstanding video goes to, again, our name wasn't mentioned. At this point, my knees are knocking and I got my fingers crossed. The WKYT first place prize for outstanding video goes to Paul Lawrence Dunbar. We had won the prize. Fellow Toastmasters, I did not share this story with you to relive the glory days of my aspirations to be the next Steven Spielberg, but to demonstrate that we are all people. Our differences make us unique. Our similarities give us strength. Pigmentation is only skin deep, but character is a trait from a higher power. We can all sing. Let every voice and sing.